Alright, here's the update video about 4 months later on the 3 Biptope Aquariums back here. Doing just topping off water right now with RODI. And starting in this Amazon tank, new things that you're seeing is a bit more growth of the water hyacinth, and then a few new Autumn angels in here. A lot of the small ones, they're getting picked on. They're new as of just a couple days ago. We got good plant growth in the narrow leaf Amazon swords. They're doing a weird little chain link thing up into the sky. And then the regular Amazon swords are growing real well. They still have that new growth just bundled up like a big head of lettuce in the center, and then the old leaves are starting to get bigger brown spots, but they're still growing real well. And then over here in the India biotope, the biggest thing is the plants. The beetle is just going crazy. It's climbing up towards this light real well. And then the brahmi, you can tell from the last video, there's just about as much as this right here, just a couple little strands, and now it's just completely dominating. And it's growing out over the back a tiny bit too, but I try not to let that happen too much because it gets no light. But the Denisoni barbs have a sad story. There's only like 4 or 5 left out of the about 15. All of them jumped. They all jumped out, didn't get caught in time, and they just kept doing it. So they kind of just killed themselves, which is too bad. So now mostly what's in here is just giant danios and regular danios, little zebra danios. And this water sprite or water wisteria, whichever it is, it's growing real well. It's had to be trimmed multiple times because it grows all the way up to the surface, and it gets hacked down about 2/3 of the way down. It's already grown so well again. And then this Rotala is actually finally starting to come back a little bit. Just a little bit. There's only like 3 or 4 plants. They were getting shaded out by all the water lettuce, which I decided to take out. You can see there's only a few little ones left. It's amazing when you keep taking out the big plants, like I do. I just take them, a handful, I just throw them down in the sump, just let them float and die and rot, and they release their nutrients back into the water to fuel more plant growth. It makes all the other little water lettuce keep staying smaller and smaller. I'm starting to get like a nano lettuce. I'm sure if we threw it back out into a pond again, they'd grow nice and big. But this brahmi plant, which is, I read online, is a type of bacopa, but it does not grow very well underwater. As you see here, it's just coated in algae, which could be because it's so close to the surface, right next to this light, and there's no CO2 getting injected, but it's just getting covered in algae. I just can't think that that's a good plant to grow underwater, which means it's just not a normal bacopa. But it's just absolutely gorgeous, taking over the whole tank. I'm going to let it go as far as it wants, mingle in with the beetle, and just do its thing. Toss a little bit more of that down the sump. Then over here into the Congo, it's finally starting to look a little bit cooler. As you can tell, still very, very dark water. A lot of tannins coming from all that wood. The Pyrus hasn't done a whole bunch more except for just sprout a couple more heads. But then this pennywort, there was only 2 plants left at one point. And one of them stayed rooted in the back, and the other one was floating on the surface. One that that was stuck on the bottom, it grew just a small amount, maybe doubled its size, and didn't do hardly anything else. The one on the surface turned into all that you're seeing here. All of that back there, all these creepers. Just about 3 days ago, I took this piece of driftwood that's on the left. I lifted it out of the water, and I crushed it down on top of all the pennywort. And so far, what I've been noticing is that even with the leaves that were out of the water, the immersed growth ones, they're not having a bad reaction. They're not growing a bunch of algae. They're not, what's the word, melting. They're not melting away. They're doing pretty good. And the little crebensis cichlids that are in here, they're breeding pretty well. A lot of the babies got sucked down over that overflow. Are currently down in the sump. As you can see, they're actually pretty good size, but it's nothing to show off. I gotta scoop them out of there and throw them back up top so that they can keep breeding. And then the Congo tetras, oh, you can't see with all this glare. All you're seeing is other fish tanks and me in the reflection. Man, they're right there. You really can't see them. Even all this. They're looking good though. I'm starting to feed them more spirulina food from SR Aquaristic, and it's working really well. It's drawing out a lot of the blue colors. Same with the giant Danios. They're starting to get a lot more blue, which is really cool. I'm a big fan of that. Yeah, overall, tanks are looking really good. Not sure if you noticed in the back of this video, there's a new tank.